Today we will create a very simple Java method program called temperature converter, where our problem statement is that user basically give a temperature in Fahrenheit and we have to convert that one in Celsius, where we will create a method and we will accept input as a Fahrenheit from user and we will return the Celsius from this Java method. Now if you logically think, so actually we are going to convert temperature in Fahrenheit to temperature in Celsius. So what is the formula? So the formula is C, that is represent Celsius, and F represent Fahrenheit. So C is equal to F minus 32 into 5 by 9. So we will use this logic in our Java method and finally return the Celsius temperature, and we will print that one. So let's implement that in Eclipse. So I have already opened my Eclipse and this temperature converter is my class, and I have created this under com.demo.method package. Now if I double click here to get a wider view, then what is our aim? So first we have to create a method which will basically convert the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius, where it will take the input that is basically in Fahrenheit. So this is my main method, and this main method start here and end here. Then just we will enter here, and then here we will define our method, and from this main method we will going to call this method. So first we have to create a method here, and what is the syntax? Now if you see the method syntax, so first we will type the access modifier, then return type, then method name, and under bracket our parameter, then method start here, end here. Here we have to create the logic that is basically converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Then we have to return the value of this type of return type. So this is our method definitions, where public is the access modifier, float is return type, and our method name is get Celsius from Fahrenheit. And this method has a parameter which basically a Fahrenheit value. So user will pass the Fahrenheit value while calling this method, and we have to convert this Fahrenheit value to Celsius, and finally we will return. Now we will use another keyword so that we don't need to create any instance of this class. So we already learned that we have to use the keyword static. Now my method start here and end here. Now we have to write our logic here, and that logic is F minus 32 into 5 by 9, where F is basically the temperature that is passed when calling this method as a Fahrenheit. Okay, now this will be a float type value after calculation, so definitely we have to collect that one in a float variable. So let make this float variable, that is basically our temperature in Celsius. So we can type float C is equal to F minus 32 into 5 by 9 and terminate this using semicolon. Now still we are getting the compilation error because this is a float type return type, so we have to return that float value. So what is that float value? Actually we are trying to return or converting the Fahrenheit to Celsius, so we will return this Celsius value. So we can type here return then C. So now if you check here the our method definitions, so we basically create a method which basically accept the Fahrenheit as a parameter, then this Fahrenheit will be converted in Celsius, and finally we are returning the Celsius value. Now our method definition is done. Now we have to call this method from here, right? So how we can call this? So as we using static keyword, so don't need to create any instance, we directly call by giving this type of syntax, right? Now here we have to pass the value of the Fahrenheit that will be entered by user. So definitely we have to give some statement so that user can understand what exactly he has to do. So first we have to create a variable float temperature in F for Fahrenheit. Okay, so now we will create a system.out.println to give a message to user. So this is a message to user, enter temperature in Fahrenheit. Now once user enter that temperature, that will be collected under this temperature in float variable, right? So how we can collect that one? So we have to take the help of scanner class. So just after this line we can create an instance of scanner class and use Ctrl Shift O to import the scanner class util package. Then using this SC instance we can easily collect the temperature in Fahrenheit value that is basically entered by user. So that is sc.next, and it is a float type, so we have to use the next float method. Now save it using Ctrl S. Now you can see here that user enters some value in Fahrenheit for this temperature, and that will be collected here, right? Now this temperature value we will pass in this method while calling this method, right? So once we call this method, so it will basically pass the temperature value in Fahrenheit that is basically entered by user, and there once we call this, so this will go here, and finally it will return the Celsius value. So and what is the return type? That is basically float. So we can collect under a variable of float type. So let's create a temperature in Celsius variable. Now once your variable has been created, you can just use this here. So under this temperature in Celsius, we are actually trying to collect the return value from this method, which is nothing but the Celsius, which is basically converted from this Fahrenheit. Now our method definitions is done. Now using the best practice, we always try to close our scanner class once its operation done. So you can use sc.close method. Now we have collected the Celsius value here. Now what is our last step? We have to print that Celsius value, right? So you can create a system.out.println statement here, and we can print this temperature in Celsius. But if we do that, so this is only give you the conversions value of Fahrenheit to Celsius, right? But we can make this more beautified like this way. So instead of this type of a single message statement, we can create this type of statement where you can see here that this temperature in Celsius we have written here, and this temperature in Fahrenheit, which is basically entered by user, that is written here, and it will then give that, let's say user enter 50 degree Fahrenheit. So 50 degree Fahrenheit is equal to whatever the calculated value in Celsius that will be shown here, then degree Celsius. Now let me remove the previous statement. Now this is our actual statement. Now if I recap here, so this is our Celsius to Fahrenheit converter method, which basically take temperature in Fahrenheit, and based on this logic it will calculate the Celsius of that Fahrenheit and then return the Celsius value. And from here we are trying to calling this method and passing the temperature value in Fahrenheit, which is basically entered by user, and that is collected under temperature in Celsius variable. And finally whatever the value in Fahrenheit entered by user, we are giving that one, that let's say 50 degrees. So 50 degrees Celsius is equal to whatever the converted value calculated here in a Celsius, that value degree Celsius. Now let's run it to get the exact picture. So before run, you have to save this and then use Ctrl Shift O and F to make or beautify your code base. Now if you double click here and click on this run button, so system will ask enter temperature in Fahrenheit. Let's make the Fahrenheit is 50 degree Fahrenheit. Then if I enter here, so you can see the same message which we printed in line number 15, that is coming here. That is basically 50 degree Fahrenheit that is entered by user, and then degree Fahrenheit is equal to, that is coming here, degree Fahrenheit equal to, and whatever the converted value from this method we are getting in Celsius, that is basically calculated value coming as a 10 degree, then we are giving the last message as because this is a Celsius, so we are giving degree Celsius. So you can get that 50 degree Fahrenheit is equal to 10 degree Celsius. So this way you can easily create a temperature converter class where you can convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, and as an assignment you just create another method here and just create a logic of vice versa. Let's say user enter in Celsius and you have to convert that one in Fahrenheit. So let's do it as a assignment.
I believe this video has helped you to understand about the topic. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, click on the bell notifications and select all so that you don't miss any video from this channel.